Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another What If. As you can see in this description, this What If Deku became Carnage. Now, this is a warning to those who do not like sexual abuse, neglection, blood or gore. I advise you click off right now. This is not for the faint of heart. I repeat, not a faint of heart. Now, at the end of this What If, I have a message. So please stick around to listen. Now, without further ado, Part 1 of What If Deku Became Carnage. We start this What If with Izuku Midoriya being born with his original green hair, as the doctor congratulates Inko Midoriya that she gave birth to a healthy baby boy with a smile. But when he turned to face the new mother, his smile vanished, as Inko's heart was dropping. As the nurse rushed over to grab Izuku, the doctor handed the baby over to the nurse and rushed over to the dying mother, as her oxygen level was dropping fast. While we switched to Inko's point of view, as her vision was getting blurry, as tears slowly fall from her cheeks, as she weakly reaches out towards the baby, as she mumbles a name, Izuku. She said in a weak voice. As the nurse that was holding the small child noticed and walked over and gently laid him next to Inko, as she smiled and gently held her precious baby boy, as Inko knew that she did not have long for this world, as she gently wrapped Izuku in her arms and gently pulled him to her chest, as she placed her forehead against his, as Izuku slowly stops crying after Inko holds her son in her arms. He slowly falls asleep. She starts to sing, while more tears fall from her face while she sings. Stars and moon and air balloons, fluffy clouds from horizon. I'll wrap you in rainbow and rock you to sleep again. She sings weakly, her eyes slowly start to close. That's when the door swings wide open, as the men rush in, calling out for Inko, as the nurse tried to keep this man out, as he screams, "That's my wife, damn it! Let me in! I have every right to freaking see her!" The man shouted out, tears falling from his face, as the nurse was able to drag him out, while the last thing the man heard was the machine going beep, letting him know that his wife is gone. As the door fully closed on him, the man fell down on his knees, breaking down, and he slammed his fist down towards the ground, screaming, "No! Why? Oh God, why?" As he lifted his head up, screaming into the heavens, asking why did this have to happen to him, as the man starts to hear the baby crying in the room once more, as his eyes widen while he begins to think, "It's my fault. If we didn't have the baby, she would still be alive. If I didn't get her pregnant, she would still be here with me. As the man thoughts started to turn into something dark, he soon started blaming the child for everything. That's when the doctor came out, including nurse, while holding the child in her arms gently. Izuku is still crying out for his mother as the doctor told Hisashi Midoriya that his wife had passed away due to blood loss. That is rare, but it still sometimes happens. As the doctor gently placed his hand on Hisashi's shoulders, trying to comfort the grieving man, as Hisashi just lowered his head and asked for the baby's name. The doctor had told Hisashi that the baby name, as Hisashi gently mumbled his son's name, Midoriya. Hisashi said with anger in his eyes. 3 weeks had passed, as not a single father had buried his wife, as it was raining on that day. With all their friends and family was there, everyone crying, including Inko's best friend, Mitsuki, all but one man. As he stand there in front of his wife's grave, while he clenched his fist in anger, being mistaken as a man trying not to cry, as Mitsuki slowly walked next to him and placed a hand on his shoulder. As she turned Sorry, I messed up. As she told him that if he needed anything at all, just to come over and see her. As he just nodded, as she turned around and walked away, back towards her husband, crying as her husband just held her in her arms, comforting her. As weeks and months had passed by, as Hisashi had moved his work to Japan, as he would have worked almost every single day, not being home, as Izuku's grandmother would have been watching, helping him grow. By the time Izuku was 4 years old, his grandmother would have passed away, as now he was forced to stay home, even when his dad was at work, as Izuku would not gone to the quirk doctor, so he would not know if he would have a quirk or not. So when he started school, he would have met a kid with spiky blonde hair named Bakugo Katsuki. And when Bakugo asked what quirk does Izuku had, Izuku had told him that he does not know because he never went to the doctor. Bakugo would have said, "So you're quirkless since you never went to the doctor?" As Izuku would just nod, and that's when he would start to get bullied, as Bakugo would use his quirk called Explosion on a small child. Bakugo would just start to laugh at Izuku and start calling him deku, meaning useless. Back at home, it was not better, as Izuku was forced to take care of himself, as his father would start to come home late at night, drunk and angry. As this would keep going till the age of 10, things would start to change, as Izuku's quirk never showed up, so he figured that he was quirkless. As one day his father would have come home early, as he was already drunk, as he starts to yell, saying he was fired due to a mistake that he made, as Deku was in the kitchen cleaning when his father came home. And that's when everything started to change, as his father would have rushed over to Deku, as he grabbed his hand, swinging back as he punched Deku, staring in his face, as Deku would down easy. His nose start to bleed a bit, as his father didn't stop there, as he reached and took off his belt, starting to beat Deku with it, as Deku was curled up in a small ball, crying, begging his father to stop, but it fell on deaf's ear. As each day for the next year, his father would go out, come back home drunk, started to beat on Deku, not only with his fists and belt, but also with chains and whips. As by the time Deku turned 11, things got worse. At school, at, er, at school, as damn it. At school, as everyone figured out that Deku don't have a quirk, so they bullying only got worse. Not only at school, but at home as well. And his father would start to torture him by playing mind games, saying how his own mother didn't love him, and that the only reason she gave birth to him was because it was too late to get an abortion. As one night when Deku was asleep, there was a knock on the door. As his father would open the door and smile, as the man would walk in with a smile as he gave Deku's father some cash. As Deku's father would nod towards the room, as the man just smiled and walked over and opened Deku's door. As he walked in, locking the door behind him, as you can hear screams and crying, Deku begging the man to stop, that it hurts. As hours would have passed, as the man would walk out of the room with a satisfied smile while he fixed his pants, while Deku was curled up in the bed, crying, hugging himself, asking himself, why is this happening to him? As this would happen to the point of start of the anime. As Deku was walking to school, his hoodie up, hiding all his bruises that he had all over his body. As there was a villain attack, as he looked up with a small smile, as he watched as a new hero called Kamui Woods would had his ultimate attack, Wood Chain Prison. But before he could fully show it off, another step, kicking the villain from behind, knocking him out. As the new her fully show off, another. I'm so sorry, I lost my spot again. As the new hero did a small pose, as she called herself Mount Lady, as Deku allowed a small chuckle as he walked away, getting to school before he was late. He made it to class as the school bell rang, as teacher came in with some paper in his class. As he told everyone to calm down, that he's going to pass around some paper around to see what they're going to do for their careers. As everyone groaned in disappointment, as the teacher smiles and threw the paper in the air and said, "Who am I kidding? I know you all want to join the hero course." As everyone started to use their quirk, as Bakugo put his feet on the desk as he yelled out, "Yo, teach! Don't you dare lump me with these extras. They'd be lucky to be landed as a sidekick to some bust B-lister." As everyone was annoyed by this comment, as they asked, "Do you think you're better than us, Katsuki?" As Bakugo smiled and used his quirk, saying, What, you want to take me on or something?" As he used his quirk while the teacher looked at Bakugo's paper. "Let's see. That's right. You want to join the UA high school, is that right?" The teacher asked as Bakugo smirked and replied, "Yeah, that's right, teach. The only best school for me." As the other kid starts to mumble on how Bakugo could probably get in because his quirk is very powerful, as the teacher pulled out another paper. Midoriya, you want to join as well, right?" As Bakugo got pissed after hearing that, as everyone burst out laughing, as they started to make fun of him, as Deku just lowered his head, thinking to himself that it won't hurt to try, would it? As the school day As the school day ends, oh, as in the school day, Deku was writing in his notebook about the two new heroes he saw that day as Bakugo rushed over as he snatched the book away from Deku's desk. As he looked over it, his two goons was behind him. As Bakugo starts to bully Deku, telling him not to even try to take the test. That if he see him at UA, that he will kill him. As he blew up Deku's notebook and throw it out the window. As he was about to leave, but stopped and smiled as Bakugo smirks, saying that if Deku really wants to be a hero with a powerful quirk, that to take a swan dive off the building and pray for a quirk, but to make sure not to kill his new mother. As all three bullies had left the class laughing, as Deku got up and left school, grabbing his notebook from the small pond and started to walk home, really not wanting to go home, but he has nowhere else to go. As he decides to take a shortcut under the bridge, as he made it to the manhole, that's when he was attacked by the sludge villain. Yo kid, I need your body. I didn't know the freak was in town. As Izuku struggled to escape as his body was taken off. As Izuku was too weak to do anything, as he began to pass out, that's when All Might came in. Have no fear, for I am here! As he did a smash, as the sludge villain was splattered everywhere. As Deku slowly woke up and saw All Might as he started to fanboy over him. As All Might just smiled and bottled up the sludge villain. All Might gave Deku an autograph and leapt away, but All Might felt something a bit heavy as he would look down to see the boy was hanging onto his leg. As they land on the roof, as All Might started to scold Deku. As Deku started to apologize to the number one hero, that he just have a question for him. As All Might just sighed and was about to speak until he turned into Small Might form. As Deku started to panic, saying that he was a fake. As All Might told Deku to calm down, that he was the real All Might. That he was extremely injured back when he was younger. As Deku would just know because he didn't have a computer when he grew up, so he won't know all about All Might's battles. As Deku would ask, can he still be a hero without a quirk? As All Might would fail to see Deku contention, as All Might would say, no, you can't be a hero. Give up on that. Then he just left. As Deku just standing there, the last thread of hope being cut as tears starts to run down, as he will slowly walk to the edge of the building with a smile on his face, as there was a loud explosion off in the distance, but he didn't care as he closed his eyes and took one step forward as he starts to fall from the building as he landed with a splat in the back alley. As he was complete in pain as he groaned for a bit as blood starts to pour. Meanwhile, in a different universe, there was a battle between Spider-Man, Doctor Strange against Carnage, as Doctor Strange was completely angry and sad because Carnage had killed his child. As the two heroes was able to separate Carnage from Cletus Cassidy, as when they did, I'm so sorry, that Doctor Strange cast a spell to send the symbiote to the sun, but blinded by rage, he messed up the spell and actually sent the symbiote into the MH8 universe and killed Cletus Cassidy. As when Doctor Strange came to his senses, it was too late. But he believed he destroyed the symbiote. As back in the MH8 universe, Carnage was in a panic because he knows without a host, he could die. But luckily, he landed next to a dying teen with green hair. As he latched onto him, as Carnage starts to read Deku's memories, as he smiled, as not only he was able to find someone to do a perfect symbiosis, but someone who might be willing to keep up with the chaos that he wants to bring into this new world. That this kid just needed one more push. As Carnage started to heal the body, he began to speak to Deku. As in Deku's mind, he was floating in darkness, thinking that death is boring. That death is boring. That's when he heard a voice. Are you really? Let me try something. Are you really? I'm so sorry. Are you really? Give me up, kid. As Deku looked around, confused who was there, as he asked the voice, who spoke up once more. Don't you want to take revenge on the people who hurt you? As Carnage forced Deku to relive his memories, as Deku screamed out in pain and fear as he starts to cry once more, as the red and black face show up with a smile, as his tongue hangs out and move creepily, as Deku just looked at this thing and asked, "Who are you?" As he smiled and replied, "We are Carnage, and if you want, I can help you get revenge on everyone. I can give you my power." As Deku's eyes widened, "Really?" As Carnage nodded, Deku asked, What do you want in return for your power?" As Carnage smiled, never left, and replied, "You see, kid, I can't survive on my own, so I need a host. Bond with me, and all my power can be yours." As Deku nodded, "Okay, I'll do it," Deku replied. That's when Carnage starts to combine with Deku. As he was fully healed, Deku's eyes shot open as he felt no pain. As he sat up and began to laugh. As Carnage starts to warp Deku's mind, fully breaking Deku. Meanwhile, back at the explosion, All Might was able to save Bakugo and able to pass through his limit. Now back to Deku, as he slowly got up and stretched, as for once in his life he felt strong. His body doesn't hurt anymore. As he began to walk home, not saying a word. As when he finally made it home, he walked in to see his dad drinking. As his dad would throw a liquor bottle towards Deku, as he was able to catch it with one hand. As his dad was a bit surprised despite him being drunk. As Deku closed the door behind him, as the Carnage symbiote started to form over Deku's body, as he just smiled, showing off his teeth, sharp like daggers. As his dad started to panic, as he took a step back, about to run, but could not make it in time because Deku had made an axe on one of his hands as he cut off one of his dad's legs. As he starts to scream in pain, as he begged help, which pissed Deku off even more as Deku jumped on his father, turning him around so they were face to face as he yelled, "Help you! You don't deserve help! All the time you beat me, letting those strange men do those things to me, and you never help me when I beg for it!" As Deku's father was just starting to cry, as Carnage would ask Deku, can he eat him? Deku smiled and nodded. Asking him to make it slow and painful, as Carnage agreed while he started with his legs and then his arm. It bit off his shoulder as blood was everywhere, while Deku's father was just crying and screaming for help. That's when the door was busted open, as a few low-ranked heroes and police were there because someone heard the cries for help, so they called for police and heroes. As Deku turned around and uncovered his face, I think I got a good look at this new villain, as some of the cops looked around and saw blood everywhere, as they heard a small cry and a call for help, as to see a man with no arms, no legs, blood everywhere. But before they can try to save the man, Deku covered his face once more and chopped off his dad's head off and ate it right in front of everyone, as a few heroes and police officers starts to vomit, as Deku threw his father towards the wall as he made a nasty splash sound. As the heroes and police got ready, as one of them asked, "Who are you?" as Deku just smiled and said, "We are Carnage!" As Deku charged towards them, after a few minutes later, the officers back at the headquarters was trying to contact the units that was sent to the location, where they received calls from someone hearing a man calling for help, but there was no answer. As Deku stepped on the radio and smiled as he leapt into the night sky. Okay, that's the end of part 1 of What If Deku Was Carnage. Now, if this What If sounds familiar, that is because originally I was going to let another What Ifer read my story, and he did. Now, I didn't mind about not getting credit for it, but what I did mind is for when that What Ifer tried to taking credit for him making that story. And for him just to add an extra paragraph or two, that does not make it his story. He's pretty much taking credit for what I mostly did. And to be honest, that really kind of made me very upset. So I decided to go ahead and do my own. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned for part 2. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want more. I'm going to try to do better in the near future. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.